I will never understand why email marketers don't talk about this. And yes, it's the one strategy that really and completely changed how I connect with my audience. I bet you were taught on focusing on converting your new subscribers as fast as possible, right? But let me quickly tell you something. It's 2025 and it's time to rethink how we build our businesses and how we engage with people entering our world for the first time. In this video, I uncovered a hidden secret that most coaches, course creators, and membership owners overlook. It's a simple yet powerful way to create a lasting success by focusing on what truly matters. It's building real relationships with your audience. Hey, I'm Julia Schürer. I'm from Germany and I'm an expert in email marketing with a strong focus on storytelling and nurturing strategies. My expertise lies in helping coaches, course creators, and membership owners create meaningful connections with their audience through authentic storytelling and relationship-driven emails. In this video, I will help you understand what nurture sequences are, why they are essential for building trust and connection, how you can start implementing them in your email marketing strategy right away. By the end, you will have you will have actionable steps to create a nurture sequence that fosters meaningful relationships and supports your long-term business goals. So here's what we are diving into today. So number one, what are nurture sequences? So I will break down for you what they mean and how they differ from traditional email marketing strategies, especially from traditional welcome series. Number two, I will share with you why nurture sequences work. You will learn why they are so effective for building trust and lasting relationships. Number three, I will share with you the key components of a successful nurture sequence, and I will share with you the essential ingredients that make your nurture sequence really work for you. And number four, you will learn how to start your nurture sequence today. So by the end of this video, you will have an actionable step-by-step process to create your own nurture sequence to connect more meaningful with your existing audience and with new subscribers. Let's start with the basics and with the question, what exactly is a nurture sequence? So a nurture sequence is a carefully planned series of emails designed to build trust and provide value to your audience. When I say audience, I mean email subscribers, because I'm an email girl, and every time I talk about content creation and emails and content and writing, I talk about emails. Think of nurture sequences as your way of welcoming someone into your world and showing them what you're all about. It's not about selling them. It's about connecting with them on a deeper level. So now you might be thinking, wait, what, Julia? Isn't the point of email marketing to make sales? Yes, that's true. Sales are an important part of any business. But for me and from my experience, there is a difference. A nurture sequence isn't about pushing for a quick sale. It's about creating a relationship that leads to long-term loyalty. So instead of focus on conversion, you are focusing on connection. And that connection is what lays the foundation for everything else in your business. So let's quickly talk about what's the difference between a welcome sequence and a nurture sequence. A typical welcome sequence is usually around 5 emails The first few emails introduce you, highlight, let's say, a pain point, and make your audience problem and solution aware. Most of the times, then it moves straight into sales emails aiming to convert subscribers as quickly as possible. So the focus here is short-term goals, getting immediate action, like, let's say, a purchase or a sign-up. And that's fair and that's good. For me, from my experience, there is nothing wrong with a welcome sequence. It has its place in every business. But I feel like that there is an issue. Again, it's 2025, and if your entire approach is on quick conversions, your audience definitely can start feel like just another number on your list. It often comes across as, here's what I want from you, then rather, here's how I can help you. So a nurture sequence flips that script entirely. It's designed with long-term goals in mind. And instead of just focusing on, let's say, immediate results, quick sales, it prioritizes the connection and trust. And it's not about rushing your subscribers to take action. It's about giving them the time and value they need to decide if they want to stay in your world or not. And you're doing all of this by showing your audience that you truly understand their struggles, that you care about their success, that you build a foundation for a relationship that really lasts far beyond the quick sale. Let me quickly share an example from my own journey. So back in 2020, when I started email marketing in my German business, my approach was all about speed. And at this time, it worked for me. I created a 5 email welcome sequence, and it was like email number 1, introducing myself and sharing a bit about my business. Email number 2 is was talking about a common problem my audience might be facing. Email number 3 was making them aware of the solution I can offer. Email number 4 was highlighting the benefits of my product, and email number 5 was straight into the hard pitch, urging them to take immediate action and buy. And the thing is, it worked, kind of. So, what do I mean? I made some sales, but something still felt off. So the people on my list weren't replying to my emails, they weren't engaging with my emails, and it felt like I was just talking to myself. It felt all very transactional and not like I was building real relationships. So over the time, I realized something. Over the time, I realized that I needed to change something. But it took me another 4 years to find a different approach that really worked for me and was aligned with my values and goals. So I created a 30-day nurture sequence with one simple goal. I wanted to help my new subscribers decide if they want to stay in my world or not. So here's what I did. I shared my challenges, wins, and my mistakes, my failures, things that didn't went right. I was very vulnerable. I also shared tips and insights I wished I had known when I was starting out. And most importantly, I didn't focus on sell something. I just focused on providing value, being authentic, and sharing raw and real stories. So people started replying to my emails, which is nothing I experienced before. And they said things like, "Oh, Julia, this is exactly what I needed to hear. Hey, Julia, thanks for being so honest and so true. This really speaks directly to me." So for me, it was such a difference from my old approach, and it taught me an important and very important lesson. When you focus on nurturing instead of selling, your audience feels seen, heard, and valued. And when they feel this way, they are much more likely to engage with you and eventually to buy from you. Okay, we have covered what a nurture sequence is and how it differs from traditional welcome sequences. Now I wanted to talk about why they work so well. So there is a psychology behind nurture sequences and why they are so effective for building trust and connection. Have you ever wondered why some emails catch your attention instantly? So the reason is trust. Simple. Trust comes from consistent, meaningful interactions, not trying to sell something quickly. Let's talk about the psychology behind why nurture emails work so well. So, trust is like a bank account. Every time you show up for your audience with valuable, relatable, or helpful emails, you are making a deposit. Over the time, those deposits add up, and your audience starts to see you as a credible, relatable, trustworthy person. So the thing is, trust takes time. You can't send 1, 2 emails and expect people to trust you right away. You need to show up consistently, focusing on the long-term relationship and aligning your emails with your values and your long-term goals. So people are more likely to buy from you when they have seen or interacted with you multiple times. This is called the mere exposure effect. So the more we see something, the more we start like it. A nurture sequence works because it creates those repeated positive interactions that build trust over time. When I launched my first 30-day nurture sequence, I didn't know what to expect. This was a brand new approach. My main goal was just to connect with my audience and help them decide if they wanted to stay in my world or not. After a few emails, people started replying to my emails. Something really new to me. And I remember that one subscriber wrote something like, Julia, thank you for this email. It feels like you are writing directly to me. And some others said, I've been struggling with this exact issue, and your story really helped me to see things differently. So those replies were proof that the nurture sequence that I was doing worked really good for me. And by sharing stories, and it is a 30-day nurture sequence, showing up consistently, I was creating a space where my audience really feels seen, understood, and valued. And when people feel that way, they naturally start to trust you. So here's the thing. A lot of marketers focus on pitching because it feels like the fastest way to making sales. But what they don't realize is that consistent, meaningful interactions are far more powerful in the long run. So, just a quick question. Would you trust someone who only reaches out to you when they want something from you? Probably not. So, but if someone consistently shows up in your inbox, in your life with care and value, that relationship grows over time. So this is why showing up consistently is more important than crafting the perfect pitch or the perfect email. Every email you send is an opportunity for you to connect with your audience, to build trust, and to strengthen your relationship with your subscribers. So I have an advice. So here's my recommendation. Number one, please commit to a schedule. So you need to decide how often you can realistically email your audience. This can be daily, this can be weekly, but it should be anything in between. My recommendation is 2 to 3 emails per week, and you need to stick to it. Consistency builds trust. Number 2, provide value every time. So when you write an email, ask yourself, does this email help my audience in some way? If the answer is yes, you're on the right track. Number 3, focus on connections, not on conversions. You need to shift your mindset from how can I make a sale to how can I help my audience today? And this is a simple shift, but this makes a world of difference for you. So, okay, we have talked about why nurture sequences are so effective at building relationships. And now I wanted to make sure that you understand what makes a nurture sequence so successful. And I want to answer the question, why do some emails feel like they are speaking directly to you while others go straight into your trash container? It all comes down to 3 key components. It's value-packed content, it's natural introductions, and, drum roll, it's storytelling. So let's start with storytelling because I honestly think that this is where the magic happens when it comes to nurturing your audience. Storytelling is how you make your emails relatable and memorable. Here comes the truth. Listen carefully, please. People don't connect with you because you have the most polished and most perfect journey. They don't connect with you because you're sharing your wins and wins and wins only. They connect with you when you are vulnerable, when you share your emotions, your mistakes, and your failures. People relate when they see that it's normal for things not to go perfectly all the time. For example, in my own 30-day nurture sequence, I am sharing stories about my early struggles in business. I am talking about how I used to feel stuck, overwhelmed, unsure if the things I'm doing will be right. So let me share just an example. It's not an email from my 30-day nurture sequence. It's a regular newsletter email, but the example should be helpful. So it was in October 2024, or maybe in September. I sent an email that was really different. So in that email, I shared something deeply personal. So I had to take a part-time job to support my business because I ran out of money. I explained in that email how I had made some big changes in my business, and those changes created a financial gap that I needed to fill now. So after I had sent this email, I was left asking myself if people now stop seeing me as an expert. So I thought, what if they think that my strategy don't work because I needed to take a part-time job to keep things going? But then I received 27 replies from people sharing their own stories. Some told me that they were in the same situation, that they're working part-time or full-time job to support not only their business, but also their families. Others thanked me for being honest, saying that it helped them feel less in their own struggles. This single email, just one email, taught me something very powerful. People don't see you as an expert because of your success. They see you as an expert because they trust you. And trust doesn't come from trying to look perfect. It comes from being honest and real. So component number 2 is the value-packed content. Your emails should always provide something useful to your audience. This could be a tip, a resource, or your insights and learnings. This is how you build trust, by showing your audience that you care about helping them and not just selling them. So, for instance, in my nurture sequence, I included some actionable advices, like how to find stories in your everyday life, simple ways to write more consistently, even if you don't feel inspired, or tips for overcoming the fear of not writing well enough. So these emails weren't just about me, they were about giving my audience something they could use right away. So, and the thing is, because I focused on value, my audience started to see me as someone they could trust and learn from. So, component number 3 is natural introductions to offers. So, in my nurture sequence, and this is what I recommend to my clients, and this is what I have in my 30-day sequence secrets course, is do not include hard sales pitches. Your nurture emails are not sales emails. When you want to include your offer, do it naturally in a way that feels effortless and in a way that is aligned with the content itself. So let me quickly share 3 ways you can naturally include your offers in every single email. It's not only in the nurture emails. So number 1 is a simple advertising banner. So I often place a banner. It really looks like an ad in the first quarter of my email. So most of the time, the banner highlights my mini membership, the Content Creation Club, and school. And it's just there. There's no explanation or no pitch. It's simply visible for everyone who is interested. Number 2 is your PS section. So what you can do, and this is what I do very often, is at the end of your email, you can add a note like a PS. It's something like, PS, if you're struggling with a specific challenge, here is a helpful resource. So this keeps the offer casual and low pressure. Number 3 is linking your offers in your email. So if I'm sharing a story or an experience and it naturally touches one of my offers, I include a link. So for example, if I would talk about how I transformed my storytelling skills into a specific system, I would casually mention the resource like the 30-day nurture sequence, and I would just link the word 30-day nurture sequence. So it's not a pitch, it's a natural part of the conversation. The offers I link in my emails are most of the time low-cost offers, anything between 99 cents and $9. I love this because low-cost offers are easy for my audience to say yes to. So, and they don't feel overwhelmed because it's a really low ticket offer. So this approach keeps my nurture sequence focused on nurturing while still providing opportunities for my audience to engage with my offers if they're interested. And I have to say, everything I say here is not only related to a nurture sequence, it's also related to your everyday newsletters, okay? So how do you figure out what to include in your nurture sequence? Because we're talking about 30 emails. So I want to share with you a simple process to get started. Number 1 is you need to think about your own journey. So what challenges have you faced that your audience might relate to? So what lessons you have learned that could help them? If you have done that, then I would love if you can list common questions or pain points your audience have. So you can think about, what does your audience struggle with? Or what do they ask you about the most? So you can use this as an inspiration for the value packed content. Number 3, I want you to tie your stories to value. So for each story, you want to share, ask yourself, what is the takeaway for my audience? How can this help them? Okay. So number 4, think about how you can introduce your offers naturally. So you can think about creating small and helpful resources, and you can link them within your email. So for me, I have email templates. I have a replay of a past launch. I have mini courses, and I have my mini membership. All right. So I want to give you a short exercise you can try today. I want you to write down 3 challenges you have faced in your business or life or your journey. And then I want you to, the next thing I want you to do is to each challenge, write 1 lesson that you have learned from it. And then you think about those lessons, and then you think about how those lessons could help your audience, and brainstorm an email idea for each one. So this process will give you a solid foundation of stories and value points to build your sequence around. It's just a starting point. So now we have covered the key components of a successful nurture sequence. So let's talk about what to avoid. And now I will share some common mistakes people make when creating their sequence and how you can sidestep them. One question. Have you ever opened an email and instantly felt overwhelmed, focused, or being sold to? So there are mistakes in email marketing, and they are exactly what we want to avoid when creating a nurture sequence. Let's start with the most common mistake. It's pitching too early. So if you have just subscribed to a newsletter and you will receive within the first couple of emails a pitch, how does this make you feel? For most people, it feels rushed and impersonal. And I did this too. I made this mistake very early in my business journey. When I started with email marketing in 2020, my goal was convert as quick as possible. As I said before, I had a 5 email welcome sequence and I tried to sell as fast as possible. And yes, I made a few sales, but it came at the cost of connection. People on my list weren't engaging with my emails, and I wasn't building that kind of trust that I needed for my long-term success. Mistake number 2 is inconsistent messaging. Your nurture sequence, your 30 days of nurture sequence, is an opportunity to establish who you are, what you stand for, and how you can help your audience. So if your emails within your nurture sequence jump from one unrelated topic to another, it can confuse your subscribers and weaken the connection you're trying to build. This I learned the hard way too. When I first created my 30-day sequence, I included a mix of personal stories, tips, resources, but I didn't have a strategic structure or theme running through my email series. So after my first 500 subscribers, I went through my entire sequence and I took a closer look at my KPIs and I asked for feedback. And it became very clear that while people loved the stories in my emails and the stories that I'm sharing, they felt the emails didn't really stick to them. So the mix of stories without a clear strategic approach left them feeling, I wouldn't say disconnected, but not connected in a way that I want them to be connected with me. I realized then that I needed a more strategic approach. So I restructured my whole sequence and I created a clear plan And I had a specific goal in mind for every single email and for the whole sequence. So I mapped out some kind of a journey, and it started with what's the purpose of the first email? What's the focus on the second email? And by doing this, I turned my 30-day nurture sequence into a cohesive story, and this made really a huge difference in my open rates. So my open rates went up. People started really engaging with my emails. I mean, replying more to my emails. I had less unsubscribes and higher click rates. So, and I began receiving the replies, and people are, my subscribers and the people on my list are sharing really deeply and honestly their journeys. So for me, then it was clear that the new strategic approach was resonating with them on a much deeper level, and it resonated more with me because I had better KPI. Let's quickly go to mistake number 3. It's overwhelming your subscribers. So by overwhelming your subscribers, you're sharing too much information. You might think that you need to pack every single email with multiple tips, multiple insights, and multiple resources to set yourself as an expert and to build trust. But the truth is, less is more. When you overload your audience, they are less likely to take action or even finish reading your emails. I've been there, done that. So early in my marketing journey, I thought I needed to give as much value as possible in every single email. I thought I needed to pack tips and links and call to actions and more links and more resources in every single email. But instead of feeling helpful, those emails felt overwhelming to my audience. I had a lot of unsubscribes because people weren't able to see the value of my emails. Now I'm really focusing on keeping my emails simple, focused on one idea, and packed with value for this one idea. If you have multiple tips to share, spread it out over several emails. You can think of making a separate sequence out of it. So, less is more makes your emails easier to digest, and it gives your audience the reason to stay engaged with your emails and your nurture sequence. Here are a few more tips for you when you start creating your 30-day nurture sequence. I would be very honest with my new subscribers about what they will get. Let your subscribers know upfront what they can expect from your nurture sequence. So for example, in my 30-day nurture sequence, I tell my new subscribers that they will receive now 30 emails in 30 days filled with stories, tips, and value. Next thing is, I would really focus on mapping out your strategic emails. So plan your emails with a clear strategy that guides new subscribers step by step into your world. My approach of my 30-day nurture sequence isn't just about sharing random stories and stuff or tips. It's about creating a really purposeful journey. So I take care that each email is about building a relationship and helping my subscribers get to know myself and my values and what I have to offer. The goal is to give enough time and information to decide if your new subscribers want to stay in your world or not. If you take this strategic approach, you're helping your audience feel welcomed, informed, and empowered to make a decision while you are building a deeper connection along the way. Number 3, keep it simple. Focus on one actionable takeaway per email. Do not overwhelm your audience with too much information. Give them just enough to stay curious and engaged. Let me share an example of my own experience. So, when I created my 30-day nurture sequence, I set the expectation that I wouldn't pitch in my emails. So, my goal was simple: to help people decide if they want to stay in my world or not, while I didn't want to include hard sales, and I just added naturally links to my mini membership and mini offers into my email. Okay, now we have covered what to avoid when creating your nurture sequence. I would like to move on to the fun part. It's how to actually build your first 30-day of nurture sequence. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure where to start, you don't have to worry. I will walk you through a simple process that you can just start today. Step number 1 is define your goal. So ask yourself very honestly, what do you want your audience to feel and achieve by the end of your 30-day nurture sequence? For me, my goal was very simple. I wanted to help my subscribers decide if they wanted to stay in my world. I wasn't focused on making sales. I was very focused on building relationships. Your goal might be to introduce your audience to your unique approach, or teach them something valuable, or just simply show them that you understand their struggles and can help. For me, the easiest way was really to focus on, do they want to stay in my world or not? Step number 2 is outline your email themes. So once you have defined your goal, the next step is to create a strategic flow for your nurture sequence. So the key here is to guide your new subscribers through the first 30 days in your world with intention and purpose. Your sequence, your 30-day nurture sequence, should follow a structured path that helps your audience understand who you are, what you stand for, and how you can help them. Each email should build on the last, creating a journey that feels cohesive and is aligned with your goals, with your overall goal. Step number 3 is do not overthink the way you write. So this is where a lot of people overcomplicate things. When you sit down to write, imagine you are just talking to a friend. Easy as that, right? So just a quick example. When I first started in the international market back in August 2023, I began writing regular emails like newsletters. And I was so scared of making mistakes, like misspelling or awkward phrasing, you can name it. I wanted to do everything perfect. So to avoid any mistakes, I just added some talking points into ChatGPT and let ChatGPT write the entire email. The problem was that my emails were so freaking polished that people instantly knew they weren't written by me. So they lacked my voice, my personality, and my identity as a business owner. And that's when I realized something very important. Part of your identity is the way you write. For me, my emails reflect who I am. I'm not a native English speaker. I'm from Germany, and that's part of my story. People hear it when they watch my videos, and they can see it when they read my emails. And you know what? That's okay. That's part of my unique story. And that's the way I am. It's authentic. So I stopped overthinking and just started writing the way I talk. And I think that's one of the most important things you can do, not just when creating your nurture sequence, but even for every single piece of content you want to create. Don't overcomplicate your writing. Be yourself. Your audience will connect with you because of your authenticity, not because your content, your emails are perfect. So here's a quick look at how I strategically planned my 30-day nurture sequence to guide the new subscribers through my world. So as I said before, I define the journey. So what's the journey I want my subscribers to go on during the 30 days of nurturing? So my goal was to help them understand who I am, what I stand for, and whatever my approach resonates with them or not. Secondly, you should need to map your theme flow. So do not randomly pick topics. Create a step-by-step flow for the sequence. So what you can do, for example, is week number 1 is welcoming and introduction. Week number 2 is addressing common struggles. Week number 3 is offering actionable advice. And week number 4 is preparing them for what's next, just for example. Number 3 is you need to incorporate your personal stories for every single email. For example, in one email, I have shared how I had to take a part-time job, as I said, for my business and how that shaped my journey. This email was a regular newsletter email, but can truly work as a part of my 30-day nurture sequence. So next step is that you add value and you guide your audience strategically. So for example, every email I offer, every email from my 30-day nurture sequence offered a clear takeaway for my subscribers. What you can do is ask yourself, what do I want them to learn or feel after reading this email? Number 5 is wave your offers in naturally. Do not hard pitch. I want you to add your offers in a natural way and make sure it's a low-cost offers, anything between 99 cents and 9 euros. And last but not least, you need to refine and adjust. So after the first 500 subscribers, you need to ask for feedback and you need to refine your emails based on your KPIs. Nurture sequences are one of the best investments you can make for your business. While a welcome sequence might give you short-term results, nurturing sequences are all about building the long-lasting relationships, trust, loyalty, and meaningful engagement. So here's the thing. Trust doesn't build overnight. It's earned little by little through consistent, meaningful interactions. So when you show up for your audience with valuable content, stories they can relate to, and a true and genuine desire to help, you are planting the seeds. And over time, those seeds grow into something much more powerful than just one sale. It's loyalty. And loyalty means your audience opens your emails because they trust you. They have a relationship with you. They know who you are. It means they really look forward hearing from you because they know you are going to deliver something helpful, okay? And when the time comes to make an offer, they are far more likely to buy, but not because you pitched perfectly, but because you've built a relationship. Let me give you a real life example from one of my past launches. So the people who purchased during my launch weren't new to my world except one person. The majority of people who bought my course bundle had been on my list for months. The surprising truth is, on average, they had opened 120 emails before making their purchase. That's 120 touch points. That's 120 opportunities to build trust. That's 120 chances to show them I understood their needs. Now you might be thinking 120 emails, that's not just a nurture sequence. And you're right. You are absolutely right. The point is, I have invested my time, energy, love, and effort into creating a strong nurture sequence. And I put the same care into every single newsletter I am sending. This approach, combining a well-crafted nurture sequence plus consistent value-driven newsletters, has turned my email marketing into a powerful relationship building tool in my business. For me, it's not about the quick wins. It's about, and I can't repeat myself often enough, showing up consistently, adding value, and focusing on connection over conversion. And that's how you create a loyal, engaged audience. Let's talk about how to measure the success of your sequence and how to see what you can optimize. So I have 3 KPIs I'm very focused on. Number 1 is open rates. If your open rates are below 35%, you need to work on your subject lines. Or you need to check if you are landing in the spam folder. So you need to check your DKIM stuff. Next one is replies. The more replies I get for an email, the more I know that this email really hits the goal of connection and it really speaks to my audience. Number 3 is unsubscribes. Your unsubscribe rate should be below 0.5%. If your unsubscribe rate is consistently higher than 0.5%, you need to think of how you build your list, which means you need to check if your lead magnet is a good fit for your offer and your audience. I truly know that this can feel super slow. You might send a dozen emails and you might wonder if anyone's really paying attention. But from my experience, I truly can say that if you put the work now into creating long-lasting relationships, this is the foundation of your long-term success. You can think of nurturing like building a bridge. So every email is a plank that bridges you closer to your audience. And the more consistent and intentional you are, the stronger that bridge becomes. And the easier it is for your audience to cross over when the time is right. So let's quickly recap what we have covered in this video. First, we talked about what nurture sequences are. They are a series of emails designed to build trust and provide value, not just push for quick sales. Number 2, we explored why they work. It's because consistency and meaningful interactions, and this is what truly builds relationships. Number 3, we broke down the 3 key components of a successful sequence, which is storytelling to connect, value-packed content to engage, and natural introduction to your offers for mini sales. Then we looked at some common mistakes like pitching too early, being inconsistent, or overwhelming your audience. And I showed you how to start creating your nurture sequence. So if you haven't found your key takeaway now, here's my personal key takeaway from this video. Consistency and value are your secret weapons. Start small, keep showing up, and adapt as you go. So, building relationships takes time, but it's always worth the effort. So, every email you send is an opportunity to connect with your audience and show them that you are care. Even if it feels slow at first, remember that nurturing your audience is an investment in your business that pays off the long run. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on email marketing, storytelling, and building meaningful connections. And before you go, check out the resources I have linked below. They are designed to help you take the next step, whether it's planning your first nurture sequence or refining one you already have, or just writing nurture emails. And I would love to hear from you. So what's one thing you're excited to include in your nurture emails? You can drop a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next video. Bye.